Dear President Bush. This was my second book. I didn't pick the name. I never would have called it Dear President Bush. If it was something along that line, I would have called it like Hey George or, Yo. I'm going to have to really modify my language too. This is a church. So it was Yo something, but I'll just let you fill in the blanks and use your imagination. Well, it's pretty, this is not Unitarian Universalist.
Yes, it is.
It is? Oh, hell, well, crap. What am I worried about? Okay, fine. I'm at home then. I'm here. I know where I am now. Okay. I always feel very welcome in Unitarian Universalist churches. Okay, so this is called Matriotism, this article I wrote about 5 years ago. It starts with a quote from the Baha'u'llah. "It's not for him to pride himself who loveth his own country, but rather for him who loveth the whole world. The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens." As much as I wish I could take credit for the word matriotism, I got the concept from another woman who recently wrote to me. I was so intrigued by the word that I have been meditating on the possible ideology behind it and how it might be a catalyst for a new paradigm for true and lasting peace in the world. Before we dive into the concept of matriotism, let's first explore the word patriotism. Dictionary.com defines it as love of country and willingness to sacrifice for it. When will we all know that patriotism in the U.S. has come to mean exploiting others' love for country by sending them off to kill and be killed to protect the interests of the rich? There have been volumes written about patriotism, defining it and supporting it, challenging it, and challenging the notion of it. I believe the notion of patriotism has been expediently and nefariously exploited and has been used to lead our nation into scores of disastrous wars. The idea of patriotism has virtually wiped out entire generations of our precious young people and has allowed our nation's leaders to commit mass murder on an unprecedented scale. The vile sputum of "if you aren't with us, then you are against us" is basically the epitome of so-called patriotism run amok. After the tragedy of 9/11, we had an opportunity to become a fledgling matriotic society. Instead, the Bush administration exploited patriotism to fulfill their goals of world domination. This sort of patriotism begins when we enter kindergarten and learn the Pledge of Allegiance. It transcends all sense when we are taught the Star-Spangled Banner, a hymn to war. In our history classes, the genocide of the Native American people is glossed over. Instead, we learn about the spread of American imperialism over our continent. In the 1840s, the doctrine of manifest destiny was expanded to justify the U.S. conquest and civilizing of Mexican territories and Native American populations. Sounds familiar. Manifest destiny sought to spread the boundaries of freedom to the American continent. Freedom. Yeah, I'm sure that the Mexicans were very surprised to learn that they weren't already civilized. And I'm sure our native population was very surprised to learn that it wasn't already free. A fever driven by the notion that we have a special mission from God. Sound familiar? All through school, we are brainwashed into believing that our leaders are somehow always right and that they have our best interests at heart. As Samuel Johnson said, patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Matriotism is the opposite of patriotism, believe it or not. A yin to its yang, a counterforce to the violent militarism of patriotism. Not everyone is a mother, but there is one universal truth that no one can dispute no matter how hard they try. Everyone has a mother. Mothers give life, and if a child is lucky, mothers nurture life. If a man has a nurturing mother, he will have a base of matriotism. A matriot loves his or her country. A matriot knows that this country can do a lot of things right, especially when the government is not involved. I know of no other citizens of any country who are more personally generous than those of America. However, a matriot also knows that when her country is wrong, it can be responsible for murdering thousands upon thousands of innocents and unsuspecting humans. A true matriot would never bomb cities and villages or control drones from thousands of miles away to kill innocent men, women, and children. In addition to the above, the most important thing that a matriot would never do, and this is the key, a matriot would never send her child or another mother's child to fight senseless wars. She would march into war herself to protect her child from harm. But matriots fight their own battles, but they take a dim view of having to do so, and seldom resort to violence to solve conflict. Patriots cower behind the flag and send young people to die for the sake of material wealth. Women flocked to Camp Casey in August of 2005 to work for peace and have been instrumental in building the Camp Casey movement that has emerged since. Men who are in touch with the matriot inside of them have been equally instrumental in working to end war. I know one thing from the bottom of my heart. My son Casey, who was an Eagle Scout and a true American patriot, was not served well by his idea of patriotism. I will never forgive myself for not counteracting the false patriotism he was raised on. I also know that women of the world who don't have a voice are counting on us women who do have voices to use them. We can end the Bush administration's doctrine of preemptive aggression that continues today. War will end forever when we stand up and say, we will never give another child to the war machine. Matriotism is above all a commitment to truth and a commitment to celebrate the dignity of all life. Thank you.